Hi everyone, this is Lisbeth Stahl. I am so excited to be back on here and doing a little craft fun with you this morning. I am going to get some of my stuff done here. There's always little bits and pieces that I can't do until we are live. So I hope everyone's having a great Monday so far and that you got to do a little bit of painting. I did a little painting yesterday. I got home late. Well, actually early Sunday morning. But I got a little painting done yesterday. So hopefully you did too. Come on in, say hello. I'd love to know if you're new to the page or if you are, you know, if you are seeing me for the first time. So let's see here. Let me get... I thought I had everything. You just think that you've got everything taken care of, and then all of a sudden it's really not. So let me make sure that my volume's off. Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming in from Soggy, Georgia. Yeah. I see that. I see that I missed a lot of it. But you guys, I was in North Carolina last week and at the Outer Banks, and holy cannolis, it was beautiful weather for the most part, and a little bit of rain and stuff, but not anything bad. Hi, Mary. And I left, I left North Carolina, well, actually Virginia, on Saturday. My flight left about 3 o'clock, and everything was fine. I got into Atlanta. I had a long layover, and then we had turbulence for about 2 hours they couldn't even let the flight attendants out of their seats. And I'm not a nervous flyer, so that was fine, but it was just a real bumpy road, and every so often, you felt like you were going down the hill on a roller coaster. So thank you, Kim. I'm so glad to be back. I'm so glad to be back. But then I didn't get in here until almost midnight, and I got home around 1, but that's 4 o'clock where I'm used to being at that point. So it was a crazy time coming back, but then it was fine. There's no anything. So the storm, I'm glad that I only got in on that little part of it. So stay safe, you guys. Stay safe. It was a great week away, and it was busy, and I learned a ton, and I made great connections, and that's what it's all about, being there. So that was great. That was really great. Met a lot of new people. So it was good. It was good. Snow. I'm thinking you mean snowing. Thawing. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay. And I see that Northeast is going to be getting... I'm glad I'm safe at home too. I'm glad I'm safe at home. It is always so much fun to go and see friends and spend time with them and learn more about their business and my business and all of that. But it's also great to be home and, working the business. So, so last week was working on my business. This week I'm back to working in my business, and we've got some new things coming for you very, very soon. Super excited. So, hello, Lori. Yeah. Got to watch the Super Bowl. My San Francisco team didn't come out with the big W, but that's okay. It was a great game, and both teams, I like both teams, so it wasn't that, I don't know. I like them both. And because, for those of you who don't know, San Francisco's always been my favorite team, and Joe Montana is my favorite player of all time. Well, he played for Kansas City in his last few years, so I've always had a little soft spot in my heart for that, and we got to see Joe at the game, so that was good. Joe, I act like I know him, but I feel like I do because I've been a fan for a long time. So, hello everyone. Come on in. A lot of you picked up the little bargain bundle that I had on my website. It's still there if you're still interested. But this little, and Mr. Caboodle had a great idea. He said, that piece does not have to be just for Valentine's Day. And he's absolutely right. Let me put it together. So I had a bundle that looks like this, and this one is in Valentine colors. But imagine if you painted it in other colors that you like or that matched your decor. It'd be super cute all year round. So, you know, just a thought. And he's right. He's right. So hello everyone coming on in. Oh, good, Jessica. Good for you for coming on in while you're at work. It is a good day. It is a good day. It's really rainy here and kind of drizzly, but that's okay. That is okay. My allergies, you'll be happy to know, have come back since coming home. Oh, it's good to see you too, Bonnie. Well, your name. I'll see you tonight for Sparkle and Shine. Hello, Nancy. Kind of cloudy. Yeah, it's a good day to paint. Here too, for sure. For sure. Well, when you get these little bundles, what you'll get, hi Kathy, what you'll get is a little bundle that's shrink wrapped, because there's some pieces and parts in here that you do not want to misplace. And it would be really easy if we just put them in a little bag or something for some to slide out and stuff, and we didn't want to take a chance on anything getting misplaced or anything. I'm gonna put this towel on my lap. I need a little piece, there we go, of cardboard. So I'm going to turn my camera down. Yep, tonight. I'm ready to get back into the routine. I don't have the schedule up for this week, but there's going to be some fun things coming up, so watch for that. I plan on doing that when we get done here. So I'm going to turn the camera down so you can see what I'm working on. I've got this little bundle of goodness here, and that's what you get if you decide to take advantage of the bundle special. You're going to get 2 of these, and so that is on the website, and it's just myname.com. And I'm going to open this up, and anybody have my scissors, my favorite scissors? I don't know if they have them right now, but man, I love those scissors. It's pretty bad when you take your scissors on vacation because you're not sure if you need them, if you're gonna have the appropriate scissors when you go. So had to take some with me. So these are Deco Exchange's scissors, and you can, if you want, you can go through my link tree on my Cottage Caboodle page on Facebook, and you can get the link there. It's under the links, learn like me from Damon or something like that. So you can get them there. They're not very expensive. I want to say they're $10 or $12. And I got my first pair. Sorry, this is so loud. Let me get this off. I got my first pair and then ordered 2 more because I wanted some in, you know, other rooms of the house and then out in our trailer. So there we go. Hi, Anne. So we've got these little parts and pieces, and when you unpack it, it's going, and some of you are watching because I had promised that I would do this online so that you could see it. So if you're unpacking yours for the first time, this is what you have in there. I've got 2 little long sticks, and it's not an accident. Those are in there not only to keep everything flat and in place, but they're in there. We're going to stack those for the base. And then we're going to take and put our X's and O's off to the side. It's okay if they're out of order. I'll keep them in order just to kind of help you. We'll put the little hearts over here. And so when you're doing these little bundles, these little kits, this is what I do usually, is put out everything so I can get a good look at it. Thank you. I'm glad to be back. Hi, Shelly. Hi, Sharon. So I'm going to take off the words just to make sure I have everything I need. Also, with these little parts and pieces, what you can do is get an initial coat on them, and then if you have a couple of these cardboard pieces, then you're going to be able to switch them out and let the others dry. And it's just a real handy little thing. Once in a while, like on this ampersand, do you see how the one little piece of wood isn't knocked out? There's also one here on Hugs. And I think, oh, there's one on the S too. I'm going to pull the camera in a little bit tighter so you can see how I get those out. Sometimes people are a little bit afraid to try and get those out because they're afraid they're going to snap something. And you do have to be careful, but it's not hard. So usually I'll take my little stylus and then I'll just kind of gently tip it back and forth and it will come out. So if you missed that, it was real quick, but I just tap it because usually it just got stuck. There it went. You can tell if it, if it's not cut, but 9 times out of 10, they are cut for, so I, on each end, just a little push. Sometimes I have to tap a little harder, but notice I didn't tap hard enough for anything to bend or anything. And then there's these little pieces. So those little pieces, sometimes if they're big enough, like this little C-shaped one is big enough, you could use it to be a spacer to set some other piece on if you want it raised off the surface. So if they're bigger, put those in a place where you can use them. So, okay, so we've got those, and then we've got our little X's and O's, and I'm going to get these off on here. Now, as far as that backboard that everything sits on, I don't need to worry about one side of it because everything is going to cover it up. But I do need to worry about the back side because I want this to look nice from the back side as well. Even if you just, like this is just tapped with some burnt umber, and then on the other side, it's just, it's our painting and stuff. So you can do it either way. Any color that you want. You can have it match sorry, hold on. You can have it match the base, or you can have it different, and that's what we're going to do. Now, I told you that we were going to do the sign just like this, but you could easily trade it out for any colors. And like I said before, it would also be really, really pretty if you decided to do it in general everyday colors and kept it out all the time, because hugs and kisses are good anytime, right? They don't have to be just for Valentine's Day. But we're going to do this one this way and go from there. Hi, Vanessa. I miss you already, my friend. Our plan was to do these while I was in North Carolina. We ran out of time, and I think more so I ran out of energy, and it just got to be a lot. So now on this piece, I've got all my X's and O's. So for this particular one, I'm going to put my back piece just out of the way somewhere. So on this particular piece, I used dragon fruit, I used Tuscan red, I used aqua sky, or you could also use turquoise. Remember, that's the one that was formerly Indian turquoise. And then let me get out my pink. I might have left it in the other room. I don't often paint in other rooms of the house because I don't need a mess everywhere. It's bad enough when it's in here. So I have some paints somewhere else. Okay, so we're going to use that turquoise. We're going to use pink. We're going to use, let's use bubblegum. No, I'm sorry. Did I say cotton candy? Oh, you guys, the struggle's real today. Yeah, it's cotton candy. Let's see. Sorry about this. Usually I'm ready, and I had forgotten that I took that all out there, and now here we are. So this is a great time to show you that you can use some other colors too and get a similar result. So I think I'm going to do that rather than go out there and I'm going to use cactus flower with it. And I'm going to use razzleberry, because if I were in a situation where I was painting with someone, sometimes, here's the cotton candy, sometimes I can try something different. It's pretty close. Now in the camera this doesn't look as close as it really is, so just trust me with this. You can change those colors out and have them be just as pretty as if you had the colors that the person you're watching uses. So now I've got razzleberry, and I'm going to grab, I believe I have another Tuscan Red. I do. And you could easily do these in purple. So if you look, oops, wrong way. If you look right up there, you'll see one in pink and purple. You see that? Oops. It's always a little bit wonky for me to do that, but right up there is pink and purple. If you look over my other shoulder, you can see two. There's one that's black and gold, and then there's one that's got the pinks and the reds and the blues. So you can do them, you know, any way that you want, and they look really cute. So we're going to use just a slightly different color palette just so you can see that it does work that way. Oh, the ocean did wave at me, Sheila. We were busy all of the time, and although, you know, it looks like we're just having a great old grand time, even when we're sitting there doing something fun, it is fun, don't get me wrong, it's really fun, but we're talking about business, and we're talking about how people do things, and how maybe, you know, things are a little bit different for some of the you know, the business owners and stuff, or how they package, or how they, you know, just all kinds of different things. So I think that probably one of the few times that we weren't was when we watched the Taylor Swift concert in the media room, and that was one evening. And but you know, it's just a lot of team building too, so that's really good. I'm going to take that cactus flower and I'm going to paint the back of the base. I guess it's the background is what I'm thinking, but we're going to base coat these with that cactus flower. And if you wanted to use the one I did on the original, then that was in cotton candy pink, and you could certainly do that, but it's a very similar color. So if I put the cotton candy out, just so you can see it, there's the cotton candy. So it's a little bit lighter, a little less coral, but cactus flower is really pretty too. Oh, Linda, you're not that late. It's all good. It's all good. We're just doing these because a lot of people bought the bundles, and I said that I would come on and do one so that you could see how it was done. I don't want you to be flying without a net ever, you know, but you can use any colors that you want. So it was a good reminder to me when I sat down here and thought, wait a minute, I've got some of my colors out in the other room. So I changed them up just a little bit, but I'm going to tell you what the original was, and we'll take a look at it and see that it's going to be just as fun and just as appealing with a slightly different color palette too. So it may be, hopefully, with any luck at all, you will feel a little bit more comfortable trying out a different color palette. Now this Indian turquoise was the one that I used on, well, it's turquoise now, but it's the one that I used on my piece. But you could use any color that you like. Maybe you like purple instead of the blue tone or the aqua tone. You could easily switch that out. Hi, Barb. Well, it looks like you had a great time from what I could tell. And you're going home to anticipated snow, right? Hopefully it gets there after you get home. So I'm going to take that turquoise and give it a coat. I don't seal these generally. Now there is a couple of exceptions. Sometimes laser cut wood, the smoke or the, you know, that little dark area that gets to the edge, sometimes that will bleed through a real light color like white or off-white or something, and then I'll seal it. But as a rule I don't, and I give it 2 coats almost always. So I'm just sponging this on. If you don't like the texture, you can swipe, you know, and sweep it across just like you would a paintbrush, just like that. And I don't mind that texture on there. So that's what I'm doing. Just tappity 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 tappity. Yeah. Okay. I did go down to the beach a couple times when we were in North Carolina. It was chilly some of the time, but that doesn't bother me too much. But just to get, you know, get outside and stretch, and it was great to do that. We did have a lot of fun. It was so, my head is ready to explode. There were so many new things, so much to consider, so much help, lots and lots of really great advice, and yeah, it was really good. Okay, so I've got the cactus flower and the, hi Pat, I've got the cactus flower, and I also have the turquoise on there. Remember, you can do anything that you want. I originally had the cotton candy pink on here, so this is a little bit deeper pink. It's not quite dry, so I'm not going to give it its second coat yet. I'm going to go on the other piece, these little pieces and stuff. So the one thing that I wanted to do that's a little bit different, I'm going to set this up here. I'm going to work on the words. Now, if you look at the words on my original, they have kind of an ombre effect. You see that? And I love that kind of fade look. So we're going to do that on these pieces. And so I'm going to put this back here, and we will start with a coat all over the whole piece with turquoise. And remember, that's formerly Indian turquoise, so it's the lighter of the two. And the other one is turquoise blue, but you want the one that's just turquoise, or the one that might still say Indian turquoise. And I'm just going to give this, oops, a little tippity tap. I like the sponges to base coat these because it's easier to keep everything, the color on top, and keep the edges dark with this. Now you could put a piece of tape down and it would hold these and they wouldn't be sticking and flipping on me, but where's the fun in that? Where is that fun? So just giving them a first coat. And if you didn't want to get your hands dirty or something, you can also use your stylus. So, hello, Tammy. It was good to talk to you last week. I was terrified I was going to lose service. I was talking to Tammy on the phone, and there's places there that don't always get the best service. Okay, I'm going to poke. There's a piece that is just a partial piece that I want to get out of there. Let's get something a little bit smaller. And it's just a, there we go. It's just a portion. Do I cut my wood pieces? No, I buy them from a distributor who cuts them. But she doesn't cut these for everyone. She just cuts for me, and then I sell them on my So I'm just going to give this a little bit more. It's not all the way dry, but it was dry enough to where I felt like I could give it a little bit more. I'll still give it a second coat. It was a good trip. I got a lot of great information, and I actually, believe it or not, I got a ton done. I had a list of stuff that was stuff I had kind of been avoiding because I was afraid to get started with it and all of that. But in the end, I got it done. I got it done. So that was really good. I was kind of surprised, honestly, that I was able to get all of that done. You know, it's real hard sometimes to get everything completed and you know, find the time for it and stuff. Oh my goodness, was Miss Gracie excited? Yes, she was. She was in the truck when Shane picked me up, and it was like she couldn't get close enough, but yet she was on me. She was on my lap. So yeah, she was really excited. She was super excited. She's such a spoiled little thing. She's such a spoiled little thing. So I'm going to take, remember I didn't, on the original I used dragon fruit, but we're talking about other colors and how it will be just as pretty with other colors. So I grabbed razzleberry, which is another really pretty deep pink. And if you're just coming in, and I know a lot of you just did, I originally used some different colors, but I was also painting out in the living room. I don't often do that, and my paint is out there, and I kind of forgot about it. So what I'm doing is using some different colors, just some to look similar but a little bit off, just to show you that sometimes it's going to turn out just as pretty if you have to substitute as if you know, or you know, a lot of people, myself included, always want to use what the person who's painting uses, but sometimes it comes out just as pretty, maybe even prettier with your own colors if you're open to that possibility. It's a little bit scary for a lot of us. I get it. I get it. But this is razzleberry. In the original, I used dragon fruit. And I had told a lot of you when I did the bundle that I would get on and do this so that you could see how easily it paints up. And so I've got the wild berry. You know, and you could use, if you have dragon fruit, use, you know, that's a pretty color. But this razzleberry, or no, I used razzleberry. I'm so sorry. I've got wild berry here too. But the razzleberry is what I used. Good grief. Nothing like confusing you. Nothing like confusing myself, I guess. So I'm going to put these up here real quick. And then I'm going to do the O's, because on the original, that deep pink is on the O's as well as the background for hugs and kisses. So that's what I'm working on. We're going to let this part, the lettering, dry, and then we'll create that ombre effect. So really, really great. If you think that somebody you know would like to see this, don't feel bad about sharing it. We would love more people to see what we're doing. And, you know, this is so much fun. So much fun. And they are still for sale on my website if you're interested. I know that Valentine's is this week, so it would be a trick to try and get them to you in time for the holiday. But you can either do them and prepare for next year, or you could do them in a general color palette so that you could leave them up all year long. Because I think that they would be cute, you know, just as a general thing, not just a Valentine's Day thing. Because hugs and kisses, those are not necessarily just for Valentine's Day. So there you go. So I used dragon fruit on the original. This one's razzleberry, just so you can see the difference between the colors. Still really pretty. And then on the other pieces, I used cactus flower instead of cotton candy. So cotton candy was on the original, but this is cactus flower, just to kind of illustrate that it's all good. Hello, Denise. Hi, Brenda. Good to see everyone. If I'm repeating your name, I'm so sorry. If I missed your name, I'm even more sorry. I'm giving this another coat. And you might want to have baby wipes handy, because once you get some paint on your fingers, it wants to stick to the freshly painted stuff and come off. So if I was, like for example, I have blue on my fingers, so if I would take the time to wipe it off with a baby wipe, I wouldn't take the chance of getting it on my piece, because it will come off when it's damp on damp like that. I'm just giving this a second little coat. These makeup sponges are just regular makeup sponges. I get mine from a supplier, but you know, they're available in other places too. I am not a fan of Dollar Tree, but they do sell them. The only reason I don't care for the Dollar Tree ones is I feel like they're really wimpy. They don't have a lot of, they're too squishy or something. I don't know what it is, but a lot of people don't mind that. So you can try them and form your own opinion. And there's nothing wrong with them necessarily. I just don't prefer them. And I'm just giving this a second coat. So this is that turquoise. It used to be Indian turquoise. I love this color. Love this color. But another pretty color would be whispering turquoise, or you could use that new crystal blue, or you could use any other kind. You could use aqua sky. You could use any color that you prefer. Okay, so there's that. I've got some bubbles on there. I'm just kind of touching, because with that texture up and down, sometimes you get a little bit of bubblage. That's a word I just made up, I think. So it is good to be back and be painting with everybody. And I don't have my schedule up for the week yet, but it will be up, and you'll be able to see that very, very soon. I just don't have it done. And I'm going to give these another coat. I want to get this stuff out of the way. And what I want to do with this is, first of all, I don't want to fight it. I'm going to put the tape down real quick. So I'm just using some painter's tape and making a big, huge donut, a big, huge loopy guy. And then I'm going to slide this down, put that big donut of tape on there. And now my piece, my little pieces for the words and stuff will stay put, and I don't have to worry about them sliding. Hi, Charlotte from Ontario. Hi, Lucy. Okay, so there's my pieces, and they're stuck down there now. So I can give them a little bit more of the turquoise. I want it tapped off on my palette so that I don't have so much paint that it's going to, you know, seep over the edges. I want it to stay up on the top, which is why I use the sponge. Now, while that's wet, I'm going to get out a little bit of Snow White. And then I'm going to grab another sponge. This is just a little sponge because I'm not going to be doing a huge area. These are just little squares that are about, oh, probably under 1/4 inch thick. And I just make them like a taco shell. And I'm going to take a little bit of white, and I'm going to put just a touch of that turquoise on one end. So I've kind of got it double loaded, just so if I need to blend, I can. And I'm going to go across the top with that white, across all of them. And it's not too bad, even though it's my first go at it. but I don't want to go to the bottom part. I'm going to get a little more just white and just kind of hit. I've kind of got it at an angle, so just the one little white edge is touching down on the letters. So it's tipped. I don't have that double loaded area touching the letters. Okay, so now I've got that white on the top. It's starting to look ombre, isn't it? So I can take that turquoise now that was on the other end, and I can go over the bottom section, and that way if I got a little bit too much and I need to kind of nudge it up so that it doesn't come, the white doesn't come down as far, I can with this little bit of turquoise. And so it's not a hard technique at all. It's just, it just takes a little more fussing. So I'm going to let that dry, see if it's the colors that I want with the kind of the fade that I want, and it's great. You get a little cranky. Yes, I do too. I need that. And I did do the lettering class online, so that those of you in the lettering class, we spent some time together, and then I taught, I had already signed up to be a guest teacher on Vanessa Culkin's I'll Be Crafty's site for her advent calendar, so that wasn't broadcast to everyone. And so I did get to paint a little, and then a lot of you know Amber Strong, who does she does kits, and she was there. She brought some things to paint, so I got to paint those. I'll show you. I don't have those in here. I will show them on a live, but I have to show you what I did for with Flippin' Furniture. So my friend Tammy Hulse owns Flippin' Furniture, and she takes furniture and other items and just, oh my goodness, she's got the most creative brain, you guys. Oh wow. If you haven't seen her, check her out. Flippin' Furniture. She's amazing. You do too, Cheryl? Yeah. I like the colors. All colors, though, I'm really, I just love. So I'm going to set this off to the side. And this, now it's totally, you don't see me paint this way very often. I lost one of my X's. Hold on. But I love it. It is, well, I'm going to have to look for it. I don't know what I did with my X. I bumped it, and I knocked one off, and now I don't see the other one. So, when Mr. Stoll comes by, when Mr. Caboodle, I'll ask him to grab me another one. So, Tammy has just this wild imagination, and she uses a lot. She has for sale on her site. You can't see it very well. That's not very complimentary either. Let me grab. She has a lot of different, she uses mineral paints and these embellishments she pours with resin. And so if you look real close, it's just, it looks like it's ages old, right? And I used her mineral paints. I used a crackle medium. I used, hi Megan, how are you, my friend? It was, hello, I miss you already, my friend, I miss you already. So I put some crackle medium down from Tammy. I was just telling them about our friend Tammy from Flippin' Furniture. And I put a bunch of undercoat colors too. I used something that was like a dark charcoal color, and then I used this really pretty, like more smoky colored than peacock teal, but kind of that hue. And then I put all these other colors on top and crackled it, and then I antiqued it. And if you look real careful, I used kind of a gold rub-on ink stuff. And it is just so pretty. It is also got some pearl to it. So I had a blast with it. It was really a lot of fun to do something a little bit different. Isn't she amazing? And she is one of the most kind people you'll ever meet. Tammy is amazing. But please, you guys, just to get some perspective on other people and what they do, it would be wonderful if, I think you would really enjoy it if you went and took a look at it, because there's all kinds of really great things. But super fun, super fun. So flipping furniture is what I did that with. So yes, she is wonderful. Denise, I just saw your message. I will take a look. I will take a look. So we've got the colors down on here. We need to prep them though. We need to put some things on them. So especially on the X's. And what I did with the X's is make a plaid. And so if you've got a 4 or a 6 flat, I'm going to use a 4, and I'm going to just thin down some of that Snow White. Thin down some of that Snow White. Also, if you, my friend Megan was on here. I don't know if she's still here. She's got Gal versus Glue Gun. She makes amazing wreaths, and she works at Deco Exchange with Damon and Parker, and she's on there doing sales and stuff and giving you her advice, and she's great to watch too. So don't hesitate to look up Gal versus Glue Gun. You guys, I had some of the background showing, so I have to give it another little bit of a touch up there. So we're not going to do even, you know, don't you love it when you get your brush all set, all ready to go? And then, never mind, I'm just going to rinse it out and we'll wait for it. So I'm not going to do the pink until I have my letters on there, because I want those letters to be on before I put the red dots. And so these are about dry, I think. So you can see that even with this other color combination, it's really pretty. I see that this one has a little bit of the background showing through. Now, if you like to have, maybe we'll do that. If you like things to look a little bit more rustic or grungy or distressed, you can do that with these. Just because I didn't do it on the original one doesn't mean you can't. And so if you like kind of that more primitive look, we'll do some distressing on this particular one, and that way you can see that you can do it either way and have it be just great. One of the things that I might not do on this one is, see how on the pinks I did the red in the background, the red spots, the red dots. I'm not sure that I like that with this one because it's a warmer pink. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to think on that, but that's what my brain is thinking about right now. Okay, and if you saw any of my videos from last week, one of the ones I shared was Megan from Gal versus Glue Gun showing us around the house. If you haven't seen it, you guys, it's worthy of a laugh. So for sure. So she's amazing, and she's so much fun. And so you might want to take just a couple minutes and watch her give a tour of the house we were staying at. I don't even know, you guys, how many bedrooms there were. I think there were 32. Yeah, I think so too, Katie. I think so too. I got your message, sweetie, but I didn't have time. I was traveling. So the black would be cute too. That would be cute too. I'm thinking white, and then I'll still do the little hearts red. So that was, you know, that's my thought anyway. Okay, so let's go back here while we're waiting then. I haven't heard, oh, there's my X. There we go. We don't have to wait for Mr. Stoll to come by. I'm going to put this over here. And then the X's and the little hearts are also red. And I'll take my tape that's hiding, and I'll do another loop. And Katie, we are going to go, but I don't know what the dates are yet. But I will talk to Shane today and get back with you. Because I think we have to go. I think. Wouldn't be the same. We do a family camping trip. Used to be tons of people, like 50 people. It wasn't unusual. Now it's much more smaller. It's much smaller and more intimate, and which is fine too. It's just different. And so that's what she was asking. And then I didn't get back to her, and that was a rough one this time. I didn't book the flight at that time. But I ended up getting home just way too late for that time change. I didn't like it at all. So I'm looking for my red. Okay. But try, just contemplate. I know that the bundle that I've got still on the website has these, sorry, I have to tap this. Has, you get 2 of them. So you could definitely do one that was a year-round thing. You wouldn't have to do it this way for, just Valentine's Day. I'm going to see if I've got another red in here. Yeah, I do. Sometimes, you guys, I don't know why I keep a bottle of paint. This is one of those bottles of paint. It's obviously got an old label on it, and it was watery and gunky and yucky, and why do I do that? Okay, so we're going to stay away from that red because that's no good. Now I've got nice creamy red. Wahoo! So I'm going to take that on this sponge. Again, this is Tuscan red. I didn't change that one up. But if you don't have Tuscan, another red that's real close is Santa red. Both of those reds are transparent, but they cover real well. So you don't end up having the problems that you do with some of the reds. So sounds like tap dancing, right? There we go. Hello, everyone coming in. Thanks for being here on a Monday. Although, if you were in Sparkle and Shine, you could look forward to Mondays because we paint every Monday together and we have a great time. It's a great group, and so it will be opening again here towards the middle of March, middle to beginning. And so if you wanted to paint with me every Monday, that is where you would want to be. So I've got that whole bunch of red on there, but you can see how when I put the razzleberry up next to it, there's not enough contrast, I don't think. I don't think that there's enough contrast. Maybe there will be when we put it together. We'll fit it together, we'll take a look, and then if it doesn't have it, we can always make a little bit of a change. But now we've got those pieces all done and ready to go. I'm going to go back to my turquoise piece and put that plaid on there, this time for real. Remember, I had a 4 flat that I'm going to use, and I'm going to put that plaid on there. Now, originally, I put the white plaid on because I thought it was too dark. This one could probably, especially since I'm going to distress it and show you how to do that, I probably could have stayed with it, being just solid, or even going darker. So I'm going to start with that washy white just down the center, and if it's a little bit crookedy, that just adds to the charm, I think. And then I'll go over the edge partially. I'm going to flip it around, and I'm just using my fingernail, not my whole finger, to hold it. And then just over the edge. And if it kind of splays out, it doesn't bother me too much. Okay, and when I do load my brush, I put washi paint on it, and then I touch it to my paper towel before going to my piece so that it's not too juicy. You want it to have color in it, but you don't want it to be so juicy that it leaves like puddles, if that makes sense. So I'm just doing those stripes. You could leave this striped if you wanted. It would be super cute just with stripes. Maybe we'll do that just to see a little bit of difference. You know, might be kind of fun. But of course the plaid, all I'm going to do is let this dry and then go the other direction. So it's, you know, plaids and stripes are just a small step away from one another. But I do like the stripes. What do you think? Should I leave it striped or should I make it plaid? What do you think? This is washi Snow White, once again. And these pieces are etched with the little X and O shapes. But the etching is slightly smaller than the piece itself. So when you go to glue it, you're going to cover up all of those etched lines. So that was very carefully thought out so that you wouldn't have those lines showing, but it would guide you to put the pieces down in the same place. You want the plaid, Katie? Well, you're the only one who's even worried about it. So I guess we'll wait for a minute. I love plaid. I love plaid and polka dots. I really, really do. Really, really do. So, you know, the other thing that would be cute on those X's is the lighter pink. The lighter pink would be cute too on the X's. So that is maybe a good plan. If we decide we don't like the red, that would be our other choice. I'm going to set these up here so they're out of my way. And to make these plaid, then I'm going to start in the center just like I did on the long way, and just start in the center and work my way out a little more than a brush width apart. Flip this around. There we go. Super fun. Okay, and then I'll do this one. And Katie, I was thinking about you last week. One of the people in our group has a cookie decorating business, and so meaning she shares how she decorates and all of her tips, tricks, and hints and all of that. So I'll have to share her name with you and her business name so that if you want to take a look at her, you can. She has a subscription group. She talks about a cookie business in one subscription group, and then she also talks about decorating them in another one. Okay, Lucy. Oh dear. Oh dear. Well, stay safe, and I hope you stay healthy, and I hope your daughter gets well soon. That stuff is nothing to play with. Okay, so I just put those little plaid lines across there. Some of them are a little bit darker, some are a little bit lighter, and I don't mind that because I like them to look a little bit different from each other. So there we go with that. So we're closing in on this, you guys. We're closing in. So, but I do want to check with the X's and the O's if I like the red. Nope, I don't. Nope, I don't. Actually, not at all. The red is just too close. So we're going to pivot. And this is what I would do if I were painting it and designing it. I would say, oh, yeah, or oh, no. So what I'm going to do is, because the hearts say Valentine's Day. Well. So let's check out this too. And while I'm changing up those others, do I want to keep this red? Yep, I think that looks cute. Well, maybe not. I'm looking in the camera and I'm like, no, maybe not. Maybe those will be white. That would work too. So sometimes, you know, if you've painted with me, chances are you've heard me say, it's just paint. You can paint over it. Don't get too worked up over it. Well, that's kind of the way I feel about this. It's just paint. I didn't like it when I made the change. So sometimes if you're going to make a change from a color that somebody's using, sometimes you might have to pivot on a few other colors or a couple of other colors just so that it shows up a little bit better. So that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a little sponge and I'm going to put a little bit of white on those hearts. This is definitely going to need 2 coats. But just that fast, you know, it can go from something you're not crazy about to something you love. Honestly, on this piece, I had probably, I think that red was maybe a little bit more color than what I needed, you know, in terms of how many I had. So we're gonna, this will be fine. This will be fine. Hi, Janet. We did have beautiful weather in North Carolina for sure. It was rainy a couple of times. There was one day that had some, you know, winter storm advisory kind of a thing. But it wasn't crazy. It was just more of a coastal kind of a thing. So yeah, we had great weather and very moderate temperature wise, and very nice. Very nice. It always surprises me how much different the Atlantic coast is from the Pacific coast, or at least where I live. So it was fun. Fun to see all that though. I do love it there. Okay, so I've got that done. I've got these letters done. I've got, let's see, a little bit of, those are dry already. Let me put a little more white on there. There we go. And I think I am going to stay with the bases being similar. I'm going to use, see on this base, I use the cotton candy pink, and then I use dragon fruit over the top. And on this one that I'm doing, I'm going to use the cactus flower, and then I'm going to use the razzleberry on top. So I've got cactus flower right here, and I'm going to give this just a coat of cactus flower. You know, any of the things that you do with other pieces, like if you like that dry brush look, or if you like spattering, or if you like, you know, glitter, anything, you can change any of this up to include those things that you like. It is your piece. You need to enjoy it, and that's what I want you to do. Make sure that you please yourself with this, because that's really what it's all about. I'm going to get out a little more of the cactus flower because I've run out on my palette. I've got plenty of other colors, I think. I'm going to go boop, boop. So there's that X, just a second coat of those. Now, as far as glue goes, you can use what you prefer. Do not, well, consider using a different color than, or a different adhesive than a hot glue gun. Hot glue gun is not going to last for things like this because it makes things pop off when it gets cold and warm and cold and warm. And oftentimes we store things in a place that isn't as climate controlled as our homes. Maybe we have them outside in a shed or storage area, and you want to make sure that you've given it your best to you know, have them last and look nice for as long as you want to use them. I'm just touching up the white across the very tip top with just plain white on those letters. So here's the change. Just use my white sponge. This is dry, and just at the very, very tippy top, so it would brighten it just a skosh. So now those are done. I did give the white another coat. I'm going to give it a little bit more, even though it's not quite dry. It's dry enough. Okie dokie. So we've got all of that done. It's ready for our embellishments. We've got, I think I'm going to like the pink and the blues, the two pinks and the blues. I think that's going to be real pretty together. So the pink X's still need another coat. So I'm going to just set these here. And then I'm going to go over to my O's because I want to put the little polka dots on them. I really like those. I really like those on there. So it's not a hard process. It's just a little bit of time. And all you're going to do, I'm going to use the pink on these, I think. Yes, I'm going to use the pink on here. And I'm going to use a fairly good size stylus. Got a real big end on this one, and I might use that just so you can see it. I've already got fresh cactus flower on my palette, so I can use that. And I'm going to start in the middle, and I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then I'm going to dip again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if I start in the middle, I'll have my biggest dot right in the middle. And then I can go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And even though they're not perfectly centered or anything, they will be close enough for that. It doesn't have to be perfectly perfect. So in the middle, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, tiny little stripes would be very cute on the background. Absolutely. I love to mix patterns and stuff. And, you know, if there's something that you want to have patterned and say you've already done them, so say polka dots, it would be a great thing to just make smaller or larger polka dots. So you don't have to necessarily change the pattern altogether, but you can change the size or the, you know, and that will help to keep them nice and, I don't know, it goes with the design, you know. And so it's a good design thing to just change that up a little bit. So absolutely. On my, so first of all, this was my first one that I did. And I wasn't sure that I liked it, honestly. I wasn't sure that I liked it originally. And so I did a second one. And the second one has, I'm going to grab it. It has even more pattern. And I liked that, but then I thought, oh my goodness, it's kind of busy. So I ended up liking the first one a little bit better. So I don't know. I like them both for different reasons. Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's a really easy thing with those stylists to do. You can use anything that you make. Even the brush handle would do it too. So if you take a brush handle, you could do the same thing and it would get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. Like so. So anything that you make dots with will work with that. Super fun. I do too. I think those graduating dots look, they add a lot to them, don't they? And now I'm going to take and put the razzleberry dots on the X's. Or maybe I need to have, no, I think they're okay. I think they're okay. So I'm going to take the razzleberry. And these are a little bit easier because I'm going to start at the outside. And I'm just going to come in towards the middle. So not, not complicated, just a little bit of time. But that little bit of extra is better than leaving them, I think, just plain, just a solid color. They give them a little bit of interest, and then I'll put a heart in the middle. This is just... like this one, I got a little bit crooked, but it's not that bad. It's okay. I'm not, too worried about it. But super fun to do just something really simple. So if you've been painting with me for a while, if you've done my fancy snowflakes, this is really a technique that I use in that a lot. And so, you can use, when you learn something that's a repetitive pattern, reuse it. Use it in something different and see how it affects. Chances are you're going to like it. If you like it in one thing, you're going to like it in the other things too. Anything you can do to provide a little bit of interest. Plus, having these graduated dots on the X's and the O's, even though they're different configurations, that is, repetitive, and that's tying the piece together to have those dots, even though they're different, right? So the color is different, the way they look is different. I'm not going out in each direction. I'm making the smalls in the middle, and so it all works. It all works. Since I did the white hearts for the other part, I do want to, let's see, what do I want to do? I do want to make the little dip dot hearts white. So I'm going to take and put 2 dip dots. I'm going to go, and I don't want these to be like straight across. I want them to be purposefully a little bit crooked. I want them to look offset kind of, or sideways, because that way it takes the pressure off trying to get them straight. For me, setting something up to be perfectly straight, even and centered, is setting myself up for disappointment and failure, because it doesn't always turn out that way. And so if I just make them so that they're facing different directions, it takes the pressure off. If they're not exactly the same size, that's okay, because they're a little bit different. And so instead of trying to get something perfectly perfect, try making it purposefully random or different. And it will feel a lot better. Oh, thank you. Thank you, thank you. So I'm going to give those a little bit of dot. And then just little line down the middle, and then connect them with a little V. So real easy, but different on each one, so that then you don't have any kind of, oh, this one's crooked, that one's not crooked, that kind of an idea. Because it's just like I said, it sets you up for disappointment and failure because you just feel like you didn't do a good job. And chances are it looks just fine the way it is. We don't need to carry that around. It's just, you know, something fun and cute. Okay, so we've got those done. I think what I'm going to do is, I'm thinking. I like the red. I like changing out the red though. And most of you know probably that I am not a fan of red and pink together for some reason. It's just not, it's not what I prefer. And so we're gonna put, and this takes that out of there, even though it looked fine before. I just didn't like it with this particular one. I'm gonna get out my stick fast and try and get the lid off because I have it on the outside. There we go. Okay. Ugh. This is gross, you guys. Let me get a little sponge because I don't want the goop on here. Now, Stick Fast I really like. It's a great, it's like a super, well, it is a super glue kind of a thing. It comes in thick, thin, and medium viscosities, I guess. And so you can use whatever you prefer. I like the thick, and I'm just going to put a little dot. That's all I'm going to put. And you can barely see it. It's just a teeny tiny little dot. And I'm just going to put these on there. I have to look at it. And it takes it a couple seconds to set up, but I'm going to let it set up. Then I'm going to do the next two. I will spray these with spray sealer. You could, if I were going to brush the varnish on them instead of spray them, I would do it before I put them together. The other thing that you can do is you can, when you're brush sealing them, you know, using a brush varnish, you can use that as your adhesive. So when you put the brush on varnish on your letters, unlike your second coat, put some on the back after you've varnished your, what it's going to sit on, and then set it where you want it, and that varnish will adhere it to your surface, so you don't have to put another thing on there. Oh, I was going to distress these, wasn't I? Whoopsie. Well, you guys, let's see what we can do. All you want to do if you do decide to distress something like this, you want to use a sander. And I like the Gator sanders. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Even though I kind of missed my opportunity there because I'm talking, not paying attention. Okay, a little on the tired side of life. The spray I like is, I usually use the DecoArt one. If I don't have the DecoArt spray sealer, I don't use sprays very often, but I like the Rust-Oleum 2X, and there's several that are supposed to be like heirloom type quality. They don't fade, they don't yellow, and all of those. As long as it says that and I can count on them, you know, it's maybe a good brand, then I will do that. The one that I'm not crazy about, and it's okay, but it's the Valentine one is one I'm not crazy about. Now, I like this way better with the white than I do with the red. The red was just too close to the razzleberry in order to make it look the way I wanted it to look. I didn't want it so close. I wanted more contrast. So I'm going to show you on something else how to distress something. Let me find something else. Okay, so this one isn't all the way painted, but it's got some corners on it and stuff. So we're going to pretend that this is a side that I wanted to distress. I'm going to run my sandpaper towards the middle and let it take some of this paint off. Now, I did this particular piece with some chalky gesso. But you can see where the wood is showing through. In the middle, I've taken off some and kind of made it a little bit more, it's just, it looks like it's aged. So let's try it on this little guy. And this should show up a little bit better. And it's only turning this real white color because I was sanding that white chalky gesso before. So I'm just going to go around the edges. Normally I wouldn't do this over my painting table because it will get stuff on there. But you can see how it's scratched up and how the edges are a little bit worn. And I like that look. I do like that look. So that's how you would do it if you were going to distress all of these. So now I'm going to put my little bits and parts and pieces on here. On the hugs and kisses, you want to be super careful with the amount of glue you put on here because you don't want a lot of it coming through, but you want it adhered in several locations so that it doesn't, you know, flip up and get caught. But still, I only put just a few super tiny little drops of glue, and I just broke hugs trying to bring it off that tape. So if I would have been careful, I wouldn't have done that. That's the first one I've broken. But I was not careful. But it will still glue down, and it didn't come apart, so I don't have to worry about matching it up. And it sticks down, and it does stick fast. Like, that's stuck now. Don't let the name fool you. It really does what it says it's going to do. And I'm not even squeezing my bottle. I'm really just taking what's already on the tip to put a few little pieces, a few little spots down so that it will hold it. I don't need it to be super duper, you know, it's not going to be out in the weather. I just need a little bit tapped on here in different places where I want it to adhere. But again, it sticks fast, so it dries fast, and so you can't really get too carried away because you've got to get that color on, or you've got to get those pieces on there before it dries. So I'm going to put that one on there, and then I'll put these guys on there. But you can see how quickly these go together, and they're super fun. We've got the 2 for special going on the website, so if you're interested, it's still there. Again, these wouldn't have to be for Valentine's Day. Hugs and kisses, they're not just for Valentine's Day anymore. Get that off of there. And then I will get them glued on their little plaid bits. So I've got this guy. You know what? I think I did. Oh my, I don't know. So that one's got a big long one. So there you go. So it's going to have the big long one on the short block. I am not going to redo it. I must have grabbed the wrong one on there. But you can see it's not going to make that much difference, so I'm not going to worry about it. And I always want to make sure I have one on the middle and to try and keep these ends down, especially on something that's bigger. The Hugs and Kisses is a little bit different. This is a little bit bigger, so I do want it in all of the different, you know, main spots. Get it where I want it because it doesn't move for very long. That one isn't perfect because it did what it says. It stuck fast. Now, if I wanted to risk breaking it, I could take and pop it off with like a palette knife or something like that, but it's not that important to me at this point. So there it is with that one. And then just barely squeezing. This stick fast does work really, really well. It seems expensive, but when you add it up with what we normally use for, say, gel super glue, it really is a bargain. It's not that expensive because you get so much more, and it's like, I think it's $16.99 for what we've got here. So now this one will go here, and then we've got the tall O over here, and then every other goes like this, and the tall one of these goes over here with the shorter and the shorter. And I like that one of the X's is a little bit different. It's cute, super cute. So now I will put these on here. Now remember, I was trying to decide what I wanted to do on the background of these O's, or the ends. No, the O's, sorry. I wanted to make sure that I had them where I wanted them. And I'm looking at it and thinking, I don't know if dots are going to be right. They need to be bigger for sure. They can't be tiny, I don't think. But you could go either way. I think they'd be cute with white dots though. So I'm going to take and put on, since I've got it dry fitted, it does get a little bit, to me, it's a little bit scary to get these where you want them until you've got the perfect dry fit. So you do want to feel the edges because the base and the pieces should be in the same exact place. So I want to do these ends because I think the ends are the easiest ones to do. So I'm going to get these placed, and that will help me to keep everything lined up as I put the other pieces on. Hold on. Takes a second here. And the more stick fast it seems like you've got on there, the faster or the slower, a little more playtime you have. But if you get this off, then it's going to set all of these little blocks off. So you want to make sure that you get these like anchor pieces in the right place and get them stuck down, because then you'll be able to fit everything else in. Isn't it fun, Jessica? I love them too. Hi, Linda. No, you're live, honey. You've got the red, you should have the red live up at the top. I am right here live and in person doing these little guys. These, you know, again, they would be super cute. How cute would this be in a baby's room, you know, to do just for something to sit on a shelf? It wouldn't have to be a Valentine's piece, and I love that about it. Not very much. Not very much. It is turning out cute, isn't it? Yes, I love it. So I want this to be, and this little tab is supposed to be there because that's what fits into the little base. Now the base you can have, if you want, you can have the base adhered permanently so that you've got, you know, it's glued on, or you can leave it so that it just sits in there so that if you want to store it flat, you can. And, you know, now a lot of people like that because space is limited. It seems like no matter how much space you have, you fill it eventually. So there we go. Oops, it's not wanting to sit down. So that's the thing you got to be careful of with these. There we go. Stuck. And now I want to feel the edges, make sure I've got everything lined up. I think it's good. So there we go. So now if I wanted to, I could leave it like this, which I like real well, or I could add those little white polka dots on the background. And I think I'm going to do that. Just real simple. And I want to do, I'm going to use a paintbrush, just the end of a paintbrush. And I'll just do, boop, just a few, not a lot. Needs to have, sometimes I'll go over the edge just to make it so that it, you know, carries on the pattern but doesn't get too carried away. But you can see how that little bit of polka dot, it's a little bit bigger than the ones on the letter itself, and they just add some special little something on there. But really simple. And those will be up on the bundle special will be up until Wednesday. So if you're interested, take a look over on the website. They are right on the front page. So when you go to the website, they're going to pop up on the main page that you go to, that you land on first. So isn't this fun? Thanks, Bobby. These are so fun. I really love the idea of having this for like a baby's room. I think that's so sweet. So sweet. And just kind of fill in where you can. Like now I'm too small over here, but I do think it would be important to have, that's too big a space, but I don't want it touching the side. So I'll sneak one in with a different tool if I need to. And then I'll drop that said tool in my palette so that I can get that all over the stylus. Oh my goodness. Don't you love it when you do that? Sitting in an airport. Yep. I was in an airport on Saturday for 4 hours and 40 minutes waiting for my connection. Isn't that just special? And we had gone to lunch before we got on the plane. We had gone to lunch that morning and had a really big lunch. But because my flight was 5 hours, I thought, well, I'm not all that hungry, but I better go get something to eat, you know? So I went, and I was in Atlanta, and so I thought, well, I'd like to have a sit-down place. That way I can work a little bit while I'm waiting for my food and stuff. So I went into TGI Fridays just because it was close, and I thought I'll get a sandwich. I'll take part of it on the plane, you know, whatever. So I go in there. Oh, Mother's Day, it would be super cute. You could do some florals on it. You know what else you can do, you guys, is put tissue paper, napkins, scrapbook paper on the little squares and then put your letters on top. So you could do something like that too, real easy, like a decoupage kind of a thing. So I went into TGI Fridays and I'm looking on the menu. I couldn't decide. I wanted something that had some protein. I didn't want it to be like a appetizer. All their appetizers are basically fried or real rich. And so, oh, thanks, Barb. So, excuse me, I decided to order a cheeseburger. So there is that guy. I'm going to do this so that I can show you, and then we'll go to the other. But see how even with a little bit different color palette, it's still equally cute, a little bit different feel, but you know, still super cute, I think. And so this is the same palette as this one. So there you go. With that razzleberry, it's cute too. So just to finish up what I was, so I went into TGI Fridays. I got an iced tea, which tasted divine, and I'm sitting there waiting, and I thought, well, I'll have the cheeseburger. I don't mind a cheeseburger when it's cold. I'll eat half of it and then maybe take half on the plane. And it came with French fries. Well, I get it, you guys. And I cut it in half. And I'm like, the inside it felt real squishy almost, you know? And I looked at it and then I touched it. It was icy cold. Not just cold. It was warm on the outside, but icy cold on the inside. I'm like, this isn't done. And so, but it was that mushy almost feeling. And so I told the gal, I go, I never send things back, but I can't eat this way. It is just still frozen. And so she says, oh, I'm the poor little gal. She's so sweet. And she's, and I've waited like a half an hour for that at this point and working. So it's not a big deal. So I tell her, yeah, that'd be great. I'd appreciate it if you would switch it out. And I had ordered a cheeseburger, no onion, and that was it. So it was super simple, right? So out comes another lady delivered it, and she says, here's your burger. I hope this is better. And I cut it in half, and it looks, I ordered medium, but it looks rare again. And so it's also got bacon and barbecue sauce and all the things I didn't order on it. So then my waitress comes by and it had onion on it. And the waitress comes by and she goes, wait a minute, that's not what you ordered. She said, and she says, is it okay though? I go, honestly, it's exactly like the other one. And I don't know what happened, but somebody must have done something. She says, and she didn't even ask me, do you want me to switch it out? She just grabbed the plate and she goes, let me go get yours. So, oh, I'm glad you like it, Barb. So out comes this other one. And by this time I've had probably a handful of French fries, which is about what I would have eaten anyway. I don't usually finish them. I wanted the sandwich with the meat on it. That's what I wanted. And so she comes out with the third one and she says, feel the bun. And so I felt the bun. It was nice and warm. It was toasted on the edges. Well, that was the warmest part of the whole thing. I cut into it again, and at least it was warm on the inside, but it wasn't cooked. It wasn't, and I'm not picky about that stuff. I always order medium or medium rare. And so the third burger, here we are. So finally, I just said, can I just have my check? I was real nice about it because it wasn't the waitress's fault. Obviously, there was somebody new in the kitchen, obviously. So I said, can I just have my check? I was just going to pay for it and call it a day. And she saw that I kind of took some cheese and the bun and the tomatoes and pickles, and I ate that. And just thinking, the cheese would be enough. And I wasn't, like I said, all that hungry. Well, then she wouldn't charge me. And I said, no, I didn't want her to get in trouble. So here I am. In the meantime, the table next to me is doing the same thing. The woman had ordered a burger and it was absolutely frozen in the middle. So I just didn't want to be, not feeling well on the plane. There's nothing worse than airplane restrooms. So, but that was my story for that whole thing. Oh, the TGI Fridays is usually really good, and we don't have them anymore around here. And so I thought, well, I'll get that. Usually they have a salad that in the past I've loved. They didn't have it on the menu anymore. So yeah, they have a huge drink menu for sure, but we don't have them anymore. So I thought, well, I'll go there. Well, that was kind of a mistake. So that's how a lot of my layover was spent, is spending 2 hours trying to get a cooked hamburger. So, but it passed the time, and I had some place to sit and, you know, and have some iced tea, and I was good. I was good. So, and flying Delta home, they don't have a lot of choices for snacks or anything like that. So, but it was fine. It was fine. I told Shane, I said, well, I stopped at the little Hudson's airport store and I got some protein in case I get hungry on the plane. And he says, oh, like that? Like, tell me more. I said, yeah, peanut butter M&Ms. I think those are fine. Just fine. So I had peanut butter M&Ms. But everything's all good. So don't forget, you can get these on the website still. They're a lot of fun to paint and create with. Like I said, you could use other things. You could even put fabric on them. Remember, multi-purpose sealer works as a decoupage kind of a adhesive. So you could adhere anything to them. How cute would it be to paint them white and burlap, you know, adhere burlap to them or something? It'd be super cute. So it doesn't have to be anything Valentine's-y, because hugs and kisses are all the time. So I hope you have a wonderful day, and I see a lot of Sparkies in here, so I will see you in a few hours for Sparkle and Shine. And those of you who aren't in Sparkle and Shine, consider it for next time. We have a lot of fun in there, lots of great people. And then we will also be, oh great, I'm glad you like it, Pat. And then we'll also be sharing some new items this week. I've got the new craft night piece. It is so cute. You're going to love it. And it's reversible. It's reversible. Also, for those of you that are Sparkies, remind me and I will share some of the new stuff. The Sparkies get the first scoop on it. I also have a question for next time Sparkle and Shine for you. So we have a lot to talk about tonight in Sparkle and Shine too. So have a wonderful day. Enjoy your painting time. Stay safe, stay warm, stay dry, all of those things, and keep the lights on, would you? Because you can't paint without them. Have a great afternoon. Thanks for hanging out with me. I will talk to you soon. This is Lizbeth Stoll, Cottage Caboodle. Bye, you guys.